service of yourself or for others. That is patience. If you can suffer with pleasure, you have everything. All right, we are back with the daily Vedantic reflection. This one is one for the ages. It's something that my teacher, Joseph, will talk about quite often. And I think we've actually mentioned it a few times in our Yoga for Your Intellect, longer form conversational podcast that we have that you can go check out. Link in the description, or yfyi.co, yogaforyourintellect.com. They lead to the same place, Spotify, YouTube. But one of the things that he mentioned to me years ago that I reflect on often, and that is that the word patience, the root of the word patience is pati, is Latin, pati for to suffer. And this blows my mind because it's such a reorientation with the virtue of patience, and a return to what it originally meant, not to be patient so that you can get something on the other side. It's not patiently waiting, sitting on your hands, hoping to get away from that discomfort, but it is actively plunging into that suffering. To endure, endurance, typically a word we relegate to the athletic side of things in our modern language, but endurance, the ability to endure, to suffer voluntarily. That's at the root of what patience means. That's at the root of the virtue of patience, to voluntarily suffer. And to do it for others, to do it for your own development, but to do it as a service to yourself and to others, to voluntarily plunge into suffering, discomfort, displeasure for service of yourself or for others. That is patience. This is close to the Vedantic principle of titiksha, which is to suffer discomfort with pleasure. Suffering and pleasure in the West they're seen as polar opposites. That's why I love this concept of titiksha, to suffer in discomfort with pleasure. And that is in the service of yourself or of others, where the example Swami will give so often is when you have a house guest over. In India, people will give the master bedroom to the house guest. He was staying at one person's house and they were staying in the laundry room so that he could have the master. And he didn't realize for the first 2 days of staying there that this family of 5 were staying in the laundromat area, sleeping there while Swami was sleeping in what ended up being clear to him was the main bedroom of this apartment. To suffer voluntarily, to plunge into suffering, into discomfort with pleasure, with a smile on your face. The next time you are twiddling your thumbs, reaching for your phone out of a pursuit of distraction from the discomfort of patiently waiting for something. Or maybe it's much more grand in scale, and you feel the need to cultivate patience for something that might take years, decades, lifetimes. Remember that this root of the word to suffer, pati, to suffer, and this Vedantic principle of titiksha, to suffer discomfort with pleasure. If you can suffer with pleasure, you have everything. Everything is yours. It's one of the most critical virtues within the Vedantic philosophy. And the lighthouses throughout history all knew how to suffer well. They voluntarily plunged into what looks like suffering to us, but did so with pleasure, with preference, voluntarily plunging into what would seem like the worst case scenario for us, from Socrates to Christ to Ramana Maharshi, lives that on paper you'd never elect, you'd never choose to live. And yet those are the lives that inspire millions, billions. All with this reorientation and the relationship with suffering. That's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.